Ever considered the safety of the food we consume daily? Perhaps you should. Today we're going to talk about a hidden danger lurking in a common food source: poultry. Recently, there's been an alarming rise in salmonella outbreaks linked to these feathered creatures, specifically chickens. The Centers for Disease Control and Prevention, or CDC, has issued a stark warning about the health risks associated with backyard chicken flocks. It turns out, these seemingly harmless birds can carry Salmonella and Campylobacter bacteria, which can spread to humans through contact with the birds or their eggs. Over the past year alone, there have been several multi-state Salmonella outbreaks linked to backyard flocks. The impact? At least 1,200 individuals have fallen ill, 225 have been hospitalized, and tragically, 2 deaths have been reported. Those with weaker immune systems and young children are particularly vulnerable to severe illness. The CDC advises against children under 5 years old touching the animals and recommends stringent hygiene practices like hand washing and keeping chickens confined to the backyard. Now, you might be thinking, I don't have backyard chickens, so I'm safe. Well, not exactly. Even store-bought poultry isn't free from risk. A report from Vice News highlighted the issue of contaminated poultry products in the United States. Tens of thousands of meat products contaminated with Campylobacter and Salmonella bacteria, including antibiotic-resistant strains, have been sold by major poultry companies to grocery stores and fast food chains over the past 5 years. It's a disturbing reality, but let's delve deeper into this issue. A Salmonella, a name we've all heard, but how prevalent is it really? Let's delve into this question a bit further. To give you some perspective, let's look back to the year 2020. The Centers for Disease Control and Prevention reported an outbreak of Salmonella Hadar and Salmonella Mbandica. This outbreak wasn't localized to a specific region or state. Oh no, it spread across 46 states. Only Alaska, Delaware, Hawaii, and New Mexico remained unaffected. The outbreak was severe, with at least 474 people falling ill. The median age of those affected was 31 years, and sadly 30% were young children under 5 years old. Salmonella infections are no walk in the park. They can cause a range of symptoms from fever and headache to nausea, vomiting, and diarrhea. For most, these symptoms might be uncomfortable but manageable. However, for individuals with weaker immune systems, the impact can be much more severe. You see, Salmonella is a tricky bacterium. It spreads easily and can be present in a variety of foods, not just poultry. It can survive for a long time on surfaces and objects, which can lead to further spread of the bacteria. The CDC advises maintaining a reasonable distance from poultry, washing hands frequently, supervising children around flocks, and properly handling and cooking eggs to prevent infection. Despite these precautions, the risk remains and the consequences can be serious. So next time you're preparing a meal or shopping for groceries, remember that Salmonella is more common than we might think, and it's not just about undercooked chicken. So, we've established Salmonella is a real threat, but what if the bacteria in our chicken were resistant to antibiotics? This isn't a hypothetical scenario. It's a reality we're facing right now. A Vice News article reported that contaminated poultry products are being sold across the United States. This isn't just your garden variety contamination. These are antibiotic-resistant strains of bacteria like Campylobacter and Salmonella. Between 2015 and 2020, tens of thousands of meat products carrying these bacteria were sold by major poultry companies to our grocery stores and fast food chains. The United States Department of Agriculture, or USDA, has set acceptable levels of contamination, but these standards were exceeded multiple times by many poultry companies. Over 145,000 violations were recorded between 2015 and 2019. That's a staggering number. The conditions in which our poultry is processed are far from ideal. Workers have reported processing rotten meat and finding insects in the meat, with little action taken by supervisors. These hygiene conditions play a significant role in the spread of drug-resistant bacteria. The rise of these antibiotic-resistant strains of bacteria is a major concern. It limits our treatment options and makes these already dangerous bacteria even more threatening. Campylobacter, for instance, causes deaths and infections in the U.S., as well as cases of Guillain-Barré syndrome, a rare neurological disorder. The sale of contaminated poultry products remains legal, and the USDA's regulation of contaminants has been criticized for being inadequate. The consequences of these superbugs are severe. Doctors are often forced to resort to last resort drugs with more side effects or let the disease progress. It's clear that the danger is real and the consequences severe. But what can we do about it? As consumers, how can we ensure the safety of our food? This question is more relevant than ever in light of recent news about salmonella-infected chickens and superbugs in our poultry. The Centers for Disease Control and Prevention, or CDC, has some advice for us. First and foremost, it's crucial to wash our hands. It sounds simple, but proper hand hygiene is a powerful tool in preventing the spread of bacteria. Hand washing should be done before and after handling eggs and poultry, and especially after contact with chickens, whether they're in your backyard or at a farm. Next, let's talk about eggs. Collecting them promptly is highly recommended. The longer they sit, the higher the chance of bacterial growth. Once collected, avoid washing them with water, as this can actually facilitate the entry of bacteria into the egg. Instead, refrigerate them to slow down bacterial growth. When it comes to cooking, thoroughness is key. Both eggs and poultry should be cooked well to kill any lurking bacteria. Runny eggs might be a breakfast favorite for some, but they can be a hotbed for salmonella. So it's better to opt for fully cooked eggs. Young children and individuals with weakened immune systems are particularly vulnerable to severe illness from salmonella. Hence, the CDC advises against children under 5 touching chickens and their eggs. Beyond these personal precautions, we also need to be mindful of where our food is coming from. Be a conscious consumer and do some research about the food producers and suppliers. Look for those who prioritize food safety and animal welfare. In closing, remember, food safety starts at home, with every one of us playing a part. We all have a role to play in protecting ourselves and our families from the hidden dangers in our food. Let's take these precautions seriously and ensure a safer, healthier future for all. But it's not just about personal responsibility, right? What about the role of food safety regulations? Indeed, the regulatory bodies have a significant part to play in ensuring the safety of the food we consume. However, recent criticisms of the United States Department of Agriculture's regulation of contaminants have been anything but flattering. The Vice News article highlighted the issue of contaminated poultry products in the United States, specifically with Campylobacter and Salmonella bacteria. Between 2015 and 2020, tens of thousands of meat products contaminated with these bacteria, including antibiotic-resistant strains, were sold by major poultry companies. The USDA has set acceptable levels of contamination, but shockingly, many poultry companies have exceeded these standards multiple times. There have been over 145,000 violations of food safety rules recorded between 2015 and 2019. It's clear that stricter regulations are necessary to protect consumers. But it's not just the responsibility of the regulators. We, as consumers, can also play a significant role. By demanding safer food products, we can influence the market. Consider the power of consumer choice. If we choose to purchase from companies that prioritize food safety, it sends a strong message to the entire industry. It tells them that we value our health and we won't compromise on safety. And remember, information is power. Stay informed about food safety issues. Know where your food is coming from and how it's processed. By doing so, we can make more informed decisions about the food we consume. Food safety is more than just avoiding raw eggs or washing your fruits and vegetables. It's about making sure the entire food supply chain, from the farm to our dinner tables, is safe. Food safety is a shared responsibility. We all have a role to play in demanding safer food for ourselves and our loved ones. Let's take that responsibility seriously.